What's up, everyone? This is William Fichtner, and you just heard.
Welcome into this week's episode of You Heard, where athletes, celebrities, and influencers tell us all about their NFL fandom. In this week's episode, we've got actor William Fichtner joining us. William, thanks so much for taking the time to preview an exciting matchup against the Broncos on Sunday.
Yeah, here we go, right? Playoff time again.
It is playoff time again, 6 years in a row for this Buffalo Bills team. It's been amazing to watch what they've been able to do since they drafted their guy, quarterback Josh Allen, all the way back in 2018. And then in 2019, things started to really get good for this group. You are from Cheektowaga, a suburb of Buffalo. When did you really start to follow the Buffalo Bills?
Listen, you want me to give away how old I am? Sure, I'll do it. I think my first game at the old rock pile was I was just talking about this with my two sons. I think my first game was 62 or 63. So the Bills came, it started in 1960. So my father would take me to games down there. Then late 60s, early 70s, when they started to build the current stadium, which I still call it Rich Stadium. I get stuck on those things. I still call the arena the Odd, but we had driver's ed classes in the parking lots when they were building that stadium.
Oh
the stadium
gosh.
now. So it's been a lifelong thing, and that's what Buffalo fans are. I mean, come on, we're born into this. It doesn't go away. I love when people say to me, "Oh man, you guys, you lost those Super Bowls, man. Are you still a fan?" I look at them and I'm like, how could you even ask a question like that? What do you mean, are you a fan? Where are you from? Because if you're from Buffalo, you don't not become a fan because they don't win a game. We're fans for life. It's right here.
Exactly. You're born in the area, you get christened into becoming a Buffalo Bills fan, and after that happens, there's absolutely no leaving. You ride with this team through the highs and the lows. Thankfully, recently, it's been a lot of highs for this team. Thinking about the group this year, the 2024 Buffalo Bills, why do you love watching this team?
I mean, the little engine that could, because, let's go back to late August and early September and all the NFL writers on all the shows. Were they giving Buffalo a shot this year? No, they were not. A few of them were, but most weren't. Everybody was talking Miami. Everybody was talking the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is fine. I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. He's had a Hall of Fame career. But right now, at this point in life, he's not Josh Allen. And and for that matter, I don't think anybody is. I think this year has been so exciting, but this really goes to show you how incredible Josh is and what he can do, and B, it points to the coaching staff. It points to everything. It points to a team. For us, getting back to late August and what everybody was saying, the word was, Gabe Davis is gone. Stephon Diggs was gone. The only people that really didn't walk around saying like, "Oh my God, we're decimated, we're gone," are really Bills fans. It's not that they were not great guys, and it's not like there are elements about their playing abilities that we would miss. But I mean, to me, I didn't worry about that. I knew that we had Shakir. I knew that Kincaid was coming up. I knew all the pieces that were coming in, and new people were going to step to the plate. That's what happens in good teams. And boy, I'll tell you, it's funny to listen to all those same NFL writers now because, they keep saying 18 weeks into the season, and they're like, without Gabe Davis, without Stephon Diggs. It's just like, come on, guys. We've been saying this since September. That's not the be all and end all of this team. This team is built around so much more than that. And here we are. Here we are going in. Outside of last week, that was the game. We didn't play the guys that we had to play, that we needed to play, that we didn't want to play. And so I look at this season as 13-3, and that's a strong campaign. With really one game that was kind of like off cue. But otherwise, we're strong. We're just really strong, and I'm excited in a different way for this particular year. And it's hard to put it into words, but if I had to pick one thing, it's probably just, maybe maturity is not the best word, but there's an awareness with Josh has always been a part of his game, and it just seems to be the first foot forward every game with Josh right now, and it's strong, it's focused, it's seeing the field, it's got vision, and it's called 13-3, and it's because of that.
I think this team is so strong because of the fact that they can win in so many different ways on offense. They can rely on their ground game. James Cook has really brought this offense to life in a lot of different ways this year, tying for the league leader in rushing touchdowns. And then you've got a slew of wide receivers who offer a variety of skill set and what they can bring to the team on the field. And then it's led by Josh Allen. Like you said, you spoke about Allen's maturity this year and the way that he goes about leading this team. What's been a surprise for you watching Allen in his 7th year as the quarterback of the Bills?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing that I love this year. And again, it's not like, to be a fan of Josh and to watch him from his rookie season on is to watch an incredible football player. They all don't come into the league ready to rip everything apart. They don't. They grow. There are things that people said about Josh in the beginning that he'll never get over this completion percentage thing. He'll never, it just doesn't happen. I remember listening to Terry Bradshaw saying, it'll never change. Well, sorry, Terry, didn't quite go that way. But I will tell you, the most fun for me this year is not only to watch Josh be Josh, but isn't it just a blast to watch him? He'll pull off a play or a touchdown or something, and the camera cuts to Josh, and I don't think there's anybody on the football field that's more happier than him. He just smiles and just is like, and I love that, because it's more than just, yeah, we got him in this and this. It's a happiness, it's a joy for him and his teammates. It's a place that they've earned, and it's just wonderful to watch it unfold every week. I just think that's I look for those moments in every game, and it makes me happy. It really does.
I agree. You speak about the joy on the field, and offensive coordinator Joe Brady talked about it this week. He said, what brings me the most joy is not the stats, not the points, not the wins. It's watching how the group celebrates together on the field after they score a touchdown. And I think that sums up this team as a whole really well, is just how they interact with each other and just how much fun they're having. They're entering the playoffs this year as a team that wasn't having to win every single game in the final 5 or 6 weeks of the season like they did last year. I mean, they locked up the AFC East early on, and week 18 you got to rest a bunch of starters. So when you're thinking about how this team enters the playoffs this year, why do you believe the 2024 Buffalo Bills can make a run all the way?
Well, I tell you, it's like, it is funny though. When I talk to I've most of my closest friends are still in Western New York, and I speak to my fellow fans and close friends all the time. And I got to tell you, this year it's a little bit different. It's not like we're going all the way. You just hear less of there's a quiet confidence about it, and my wife is from Worcester, Massachusetts, so I've been married for 26 years. It took me about 15 years to bring her over from the dark side, okay? Let the Patriots thing go, darling. You're married to a Buffalo guy now. She is a true Bills fan. And I just said to her the other day, I said, I don't even look at this like if we're going to lose or not. I'm just not seeing it that way this year. It's like we're going to go into a game. If for some reason it doesn't work out and we lose the game, I'm not thinking about it beforehand. I'm just not thinking about it that way. I know what we are. And I got to be honest with you. I'm not so sure that's, we're going to end up with a game I don't want to get ahead of myself. Like Josh always says after a game, you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at going 1-0. I'm looking at the next game. I love that. Keep looking at it that way. Everybody look at it that way. You can't look beyond anything in this league. But I will tell you, I'm not so sure that the path isn't going to go through Kansas City this year. Let's go win this game this weekend. And let's give it to Denver. They played a great game last week against Kansas City, even though Kansas City sat just about everybody. But give it to Denver. You got to end up in this position in order to win a game like that to be in the playoffs. Good for them. Well, but this is Buffalo. Is Buffalo this weekend. And you got a rookie quarterback and you're coming here and you're a great quarterback. But this is Buffalo this weekend. So I like my team.
Yeah, you have to deal with Bills Mafia when you come to Buffalo, and Bills Mafia erupts as a different type of fan base in the playoffs. They're incredible in the regular season, but they turn up the meter a little bit in the playoffs when it comes time to host a few playoff games. Speaking of this matchup against the Broncos, you've got an impressive offense in the Bills, obviously, number 2 in the league this year in terms of averaging more than 30 points a game. But then they're going up a defense who's the number 3 defense in the league. They lead the league in sacks. It's a defensive line that is ferocious and aggressive and knows how to get after the quarterback. When you look at how these two teams are put together and their strengths, how do you assess this matchup?
I do think that in years past, you almost waited for, because when the Bills catch a rhythm on offense, watch out. This year it's a little bit different. It's not waiting for them to catch a rhythm. They seem to have a rhythm a lot, and the defense. Listen, there isn't a game this year. I remember, like, before the Rams game started, one of the last graphics that came up on the TV was, here are the starters that are out for the Bills today. I mean, they listed like 4 guys. And it seems like it's been like that almost every week. Losing Matt Milano right before the season started. I mean, that was a tough thing to deal with all of last year. I think Matt Milano is top 3 linebackers in the NFL. To lose them for just about an entire season last year, at least 12 games, I think, maybe even more. And then to tear his bicep this year. And I just keep waiting every week to see the graphic come up where no one is out on defense. I feel we're probably close to being as complete as we have been the entire season coming this weekend. I mean, you would know better than I, but I feel like, people are healing up. And let's face it, this is the NFL playoffs. We're going to need every bit of that. Like you said, the defense is number 3 right now. You put every single one of our starters in, and a lot of young guys out there that are really stepping to the plate. Boy, I think the best of our defense, we're about to see it.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at the injury report yesterday, I mean, you see all these names who had been injured in the past, but now these guys are getting healthy and they're full participants in practice. There's very few players out there in today's practice that are either not playing or are wearing a non-contact jersey. So that's the best place to be entering the playoffs when you don't have a week 1 bye. I mean, last year this team hobbled into the playoffs. They had AJ Klein on their team who came to this roster basically off the couch and was amazing. He added what he needed to, and they needed to go to him because he understood the defense and he knew what it was to play on a Sean McDermott-led defense. So he brought a lot to the team in the playoffs, but you got a group this year who's way healthier, and I think hopefully that shows up on Sunday. When you think about all the memories of being a Buffalo Bills fan and really following this team since it started, are there any years or games or players that stick out more than others?
Well, I have 2 sons. One is 32, one is 22. So my 22-year-old was born a Bills fan. It's his wall still in his room here. He's graduated college. He lives in New York City now. but his room is a shrine to Josh Allen. And he doesn't want that to ever change. He asked me to send everything from his wall to New York. And I'm like, no. Just get a bigger apartment. But, he said to me against that playoff game against New England a couple of years ago, Dad, we got to go. I'm like, all right. He finally convinced me. Then my older son comes over, and he's a New York Giants fan. And he's like, what am I, chopped liver? And I'm like, all right, Kimmy, my wife, book another ticket. So I took both boys to that game. That was the game, I'll remind you, that at game time, I believe it was like 2 degrees without wind, just a single-digit game. And it was so cold. But boy, I never felt so warm in my life. I mean, it was the perfect playoff game. Yeah. The only time we didn't score a touchdown was when Josh took a knee at the end, I believe. I mean, how could you ever forget that? But you know what? I have memories from the old rock pile. I remember in 1965 when the goalposts went down, and I remember walking down Best Street in Buffalo and watching a piece of the goalpost walk by, and to see the players down on the field. I remember games from the 70s when I was in high school. Every time you get to that stadium, and I tell people all the time, you think you got fans, and there's great fans. Listen, I've been in NFL games in New York, Dallas, LA, all over the country. There are no fans like Buffalo. There aren't. It's not like they're not fans everywhere, but the way that they appreciate and celebrate this team and celebrate for each other, to be in the parking lot at our stadium and to walk through that parking lot, you want to get there 3 hours early. You want to experience what's going on. And it's the best. It gives me a feeling of I'm home. I'm home. I see that even when, listen, I spent the last 2.5 months working in Manchester, England, and I have to go back in a couple of weeks. But I did find a great sports bar, and the guy promised me 6 o'clock Sunday night, I will put on your Buffalo Bills, and he does. And I've got a few Bills friends over there that are actually Brits. But we sit there and we watch the TV, and you watch our fan base and people celebrating this team, and it just gives me an unbelievable feeling. I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be from Buffalo.
I love that. You say you went to the perfect game for the Bills in the playoffs against the Patriots. We might have to get you back here if they continue to host these playoffs games. You might be our lucky charm, or one of our lucky charms. You bring your sons along too, because they were involved as well. We might have to get you back here soon enough to help the Bills continue to push into the playoffs. I want to talk about what you're known for, and it's your acting. If you go to your IMDb page, there are films after films after films that you've been a part of, and different type of films. How did you show, I'm going to put this in football terms, how did you show that I can be a positionless player in the acting industry and do so many different roles?
Listen, I love the way you phrase that. Nobody has ever said that before. I think there's a little truth in that. I graduated SUNY Brockport. I have a criminal justice degree. And somewhere along the line, I took a couple of classes and really felt that I could do this. So long story short, I moved to New York and auditioned for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And I have always felt that I didn't know everything that everyone else knew that did it in high school and did it in college and was a theater major. So all I really cared about was to dive in to really try to figure out roles and to be good at that. And it meant more to me than being famous or anything. I wanted to be good. And I will tell you, I think that's a little bit of a Buffalo sensibility too, because, we don't put the cart before the horse. It's not what you say, it's what you do. I wanted to be recognized as being a good actor. I still feel that way. I still aspire to that. So for my whole life, when I would get characters and an opportunity to try to figure something out, I would dive into that. And that probably gave me more joy than anything. I like preparing things as much as doing things. Now, that's not to say that every job I ever wanted, I got, but that's the part that really turns me on about what I do. So I'm I'm that special teams guy in the film world or television world or whatever, and that's just the way the ball bounced for me, and I'm happy about it.
I love it. You talk about the preparation that goes into getting ready for something and auditioning. You sound like our head coach, Sean McDermott. He talks about falling in love with the process, not the end goal, falling in love with everything along the way that
Sure.
gets you there. When you think about the roles that you've played in, what's the craziest thing you've had to do to your body to prepare for an upcoming role?
Uh, God, I lost a bunch of weight once for a role, but everybody you can do that. You know, it's there's been some tough physical journeys. Shooting Perfect Storm that wasn't easy. We now of course you don't go out on the ocean; it's too dangerous. But
Right.
a huge soundstage at Warner Brothers, they built a replica and built a tank. And I'm going to tell you, you'd be in the parking lot having a breakfast burrito and take a Dramamine because when you got in that tank, you were going to get beat up. But that stuff is just shooting Black Hawk Down in Morocco. Physically tough stuff. With a lot of good friends and but I never honestly I never really look at it all like it's not like it's not a challenge, but it's never something that's a drag at all. It is just trying to find something. Like right now, I'm shooting this new series for AMC called Talamasca.
Mhm.
There's two more episodes to go. I think it'll probably air in the fall. It's based on Anne Rice's writings, and it's very exciting. It's supernatural. So that's a whole world that's, you don't get a lot of opportunities to work in something like that. So that's really exciting. And, but as I'm sure you could probably gather, I'm one of these people that I have a good time on everything. I mean, I'm not a drama guy. I don't have time for it. I got two kids, and a beautiful wife and the Bills to root for and the Sabres. I don't have time for drama. I just want wins and peace. That's all I want.
Hey, that's probably why you've been in the industry for so long. You spoke about Black Hawk Down and The Perfect Storm. There's also Armageddon and Crash. And with those movies, you get some big time actors and actresses that you get to work alongside of. Is there anyone in your mind that is just one of your favorites that you've gotten to work with?
Oh man, that list is so long. I'm such a fan of, and I really mean this. I'm such a fan of so many people. I I'm one of these people that even when I lose a job or have in the past lose a job to another actor, I never feel I'm always like good for him. Any actor that gets a job, good for him. But I've worked with so many people. I mean, just off the top of my head, Bruce Willis on Armageddon. He was such a
Mhm.
gentleman. Johnny Depp on the Lone Ranger. Not only do I really love Johnny as an actor, but what a gentleman. And so many people. I worked with Jeff Bridges on a little film, and he's just an amazing human being. And you know what? It's funny. Sometimes people say to me, how are all the egos in Hollywood? I've done
Mm.
over 50 films and a half dozen television series, and I've dealt with maybe two egos in my entire career. They shall go nameless, but you know what? A lot of these huge movie stars that I've had the opportunity to work with, they're really good actors, and they got there not because oh, I'm so great, look down or look up to me. They got there because they're really good, and they want to be good. And when you work with them, that's where they come from. So it's been a pleasure, and you learn a little bit from everybody.
When you think about all those projects you've been a part of and some of the projects that you have created yourself, is there one that sticks out among the rest?
Uh, well, I co-wrote a film that I produced and directed and played the lead in, and because of our unbelievable Buffalo Niagara Film Commission, Tim Clark and Rich Wall, these guys really stepped to the plate, and Tim Clark literally convinced me, Bill, you don't have to shoot this film in Cortland, New York. You could shoot it in Buffalo, and I did, and I can't wait. I have another project that I'm working on right now that's based on a true story. I don't know if it'll be this summer. I hope so.
Mhm.
But I want to shoot it where it happened, and it happened in Western New York.
Wow.
So, I got to tell you, for me, to come back home and to come back home is wonderful anyway. To come back home and to work on something is really, it's a dream. And working on my film that I made in Buffalo, Cold Brook, was that. Now, I was just in Buffalo last spring for a little tiny independent film called Cutman. And we shot that in Buffalo. I remember when the writer director called me and said, listen, we were going to shoot this in Newburgh, New York, but do you mind if we shoot it in Buffalo? And I'm like, yeah, twist my arm. I had a chance to see a screening of it a couple of months ago. And I listen, I'm not one that walks around and go, oh, I'm really good in this, but I do think it's one of the best, if not the best thing, me personally, I think I've ever done. I can't wait for it to go in the festival circuit, and I can't wait for a screening of it in Buffalo. All Buffalo crew, everybody was there, a lot of Buffalo actors. I think you get what I'm saying. Going home and working, those are the highlights of my life.
That's so neat when so many things that you love get to coincide with each other and turn into something that becomes a passion project for you. Is there anything else on the forefront that we can be looking forward to?
Like I said, just this film that I worked on, Cutman, and this new series called Talamasca.
Okay.
And those are the two things. And right now, I'm just focused on that, and just hoping that these fires die down out here. But that's what's happening right now. I don't know what's after that. Who knows?
Well, we hope you all stay safe in California. It's been heartbreaking to watch some of those scenes, videos, and turn on the news channel and see that type of destruction. We hope that they die down, and we hope that the winds completely stop so firefighters and the crew can get in there and put everything out, because would hate to see other areas start to burn up in flames. Glad to hear that you're okay and you haven't had to evacuate yet. Hopefully that stays the case.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that's just I'm literally spending a lot of time in my backyard in the last 48 hours with a hose, hoping that the winds don't change and embers fly in this direction. My wife, the car is packed. She's like, "Let's go," and I'm like, "I'm not leaving. I'm staying till I have to go," and that's not yet. So,
Right.
knock on wood for all the people that are affected by this. God bless them.
Yes, definitely. And if you got to leave, come right to Buffalo because we got a game here on Sunday.
Oh, we got a game here on Sunday. Let me tell you one more thing about. So now I've convinced my wife to be a Bills fan. So we got a lovely big flat screen up in the den. As I showed you before we started, I'm down in my man cave. When the kickoff happens, I can't watch it. I can't watch the game with anybody else. She's like, she says every week, "You're gonna watch the game with me," and I'm like, "Sorry, babe. I'll see you at halftime." I got to be down here. I got my TV right behind me. I got to be here. I got to be able to walk around. I got to it's what I need. So Sunday, when you're all having a great time, I will be here watching this.
Are you a talker at the TV? You said you walk around. What is a game with William Fichtner like? I know people aren't allowed inside the man cave, but if we had a bird's eye view, what's going on in there?
I tell you, it can get real loud. The decibel level can get like Rolling Stones at the odd loud. No, I mean, sometimes I'm just like, I could be standing there. Yeah, I'll give you a little example. I'll be standing there real kind of calm, and all of a sudden, and then the Bills are down on the 8-yard line. Josh backs up. He runs in for a TD, and I'm just like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. And then it just goes nuts. And then I run upstairs and I kiss my wife, and I'm like, "Did you see that, honey?" She's like, "Stay." And I'm like, No. See you at halftime. That's the way it goes. That's the way I roll.
I love it. William, thank you so much. We love the fandom. We love that you follow this team so closely, and we love your ties to Buffalo.
I love my hometown. I can't wait. I can't wait to get back. Listen for everybody. God bless our team and all the players. Hope everybody stays healthy. Because I really feel you play your best game, we win. Everybody plays their best, we win. We have Josh Allen, And we've got many, many great players on this team. But in my opinion, right now, this year, right now, there's not a better player in all of pro football. Right now. There is not. There just is not. Not that guy, not with that heart, not with his ability. And you put that cast of people around him and all of our amazing players and Cook and everybody else. Oh, boy, let's just come on. Come on.
I agree. MVP this season and hopefully a Super Bowl down the road. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Super Bowl down the road. We need it. Everybody needs it and everybody roots for their teams. But we're Buffalo. We need it.
Exactly.
And we're going to get it.
Exactly. I agree. Thank you so much, William.
My pleasure. You take care of yourself.